right.
All right, we are unmuted, we are live, we are doing this thing. My shortcut keys for mute don't work anymore. John, take us away.
Woo! Love it. Wait, technology doesn't work. Hey, everybody, how you doing out there in the world of the world? Welcome to Talking Initiative, where we're actually going to talk about Star King Thunder Initiative and talking at the same time. So this is our quote-unquote first Talking Initiative. We won't get into the mishap that happened last time. We've already forgotten about it. So welcome, everybody. Do we want to introduce ourselves or do we want to just dive right into what happened in the story? All right. You don't get to know who we are. Here we go. We're getting to the game.
All right. Names are underneath anyway. Just look at it.
So who wants to go into what happened?
Nicholas.
Nick.
Shut up. Well, I mean, it's the beginning of a campaign, so it's a lot of introduction. First episode, we have the 5 best friends that anyone could ever have meet for the first time. We got Moose, who has her companion Jeff, and Useless. Well, we don't know Useless. We haven't met Useless yet, have we? But
I don't think so.
Okay, but then we also have Barty, who is an Aarakocra bard. And they come across. We have Surreal, who is a tiefling barbarian, swole, sexy woman, killing the game. Then we have Mortimer. He's like this guardsman, super detective, kind of like Batman, sexy, super powerful, super cool dude. Then they come across a tabaxi named Zell, who is a little sweet boy, who has a book friend. I guess you could say book friend. Has a giant book that he carries around, and then we head towards Nightstone. But Nightstone isn't how we remembered it. It's a little disheveled, and we realize that it's been destroyed. But we need to get into Nightstone. We need to figure out what happens. So that's episode 1.
What happened?
That is episode 1.
Nailed it. Okay, episode 2. We get into the Nightstone, and we come across these 2 beast-looking things. Barty swoops around, and I believe it's Moose determines that they're wargs, and we figure out that they're wargs. But there's a bell that's ringing and it's annoying everybody, so we go to stop the bell. And as Moose goes to stop the bell from ringing, the wargs attack us, and Surreal basically just takes them on single-handedly. And what else happens? Is that episode 2? Episode 2, we stop the bell from ringing because Zell climbs up the rope and finds 2 goblins up there. And Moose and Zell together kill the goblins, and they stop the bell from ringing. And then together as a team, we kill 2 wargs. But we don't work very well, and we don't communicate very well. We are all doing our own things, but Surreal and Mortimer seem to be doing pretty well together. They seem like they've done this before, that they're a team a little bit, or at least they know things about each other. They've met before. So then we take on the wargs, and we kill them dead. Episode 2, that happens. Right? Anything else that happened in episode 2? You guys, we'll talk about it later, and you'll tell me everything I got wrong.
When you introduced all the characters, you didn't even introduce Flock Brown.
Nick. Oh yeah, Barty has a best friend named Flock Brown, who is honestly, they're like this. They're super close. They work perfectly in tandem. They have these rehearsed moves that they use. It's I didn't want to draw too much attention to it. I didn't want to take the focus because Flock Brown and Barty are the dynamic duo. They're the best of friends and the best team ever.
Truly the heroes of the story.
Sure.
Sorry to say it, but so we take down the wargs, we take down the goblins, and then we decide to investigate the town a little bit more. We noticed that boulders had been thrown, or seemed to have been thrown, from outside the walls into town. All the people have scattered, and there's nobody around until we get into the inn in the town, right? So as we are getting into the inn, we come across a few more goblins. We take them out. We realize that Moose clearly has a thing against goblins because Barty just wants to question one, and she kills it dead out. So she has no hesitation for killing. Moose is a murderer. Zell, on the other hand, is a little innocent boy. He doesn't really know what this deal is with these people who are killing everyone, but yet they're kind of his friends and they're looking after him. So he has a lot to deal with on his side. about trusting the rest of the party. Kill those people. Then we get into the inn and we come across a woman named Isabella who tells us that a castle in the sky was throwing the boulders into the town, and she just happened to come into town at the wrong time, wrong place, wrong time situation. And she happens to have a pet, which is a winged serpent. Second Mortimer sees that, he's like, that's not right. That's a bad sign. And then he pressures her and not pressures her, but like interrogates her. Inside check. We're all just like, she's lying about something here. So Mortimer's just like, all right, let's cut the crap. Tell me who you are. And she's like, all right. I'm a Zentarum spy, and we're gonna come take the town. And then the giants came, and our plan is on halt right now because obviously I'm the only one alive in this town. And then we're like, all right, well, put these cuffs on, which are like, Mortimer pulls out these like fuzzy cuffs. He's like, all right, put these cuffs on because we need to get you.
I distinctly remember they were fuzzy cuffs.
Fuzzy cuffs.
No.
He just happens to have them. So and some rope and some zip ties. I don't know what he's into, but
Wait. Hold on, let me check my
There's some,
inventory.
like,
No, that checks
latex
out.
in
Pull
there.
down an entire harness. Whoa!
I've been wearing
Son
leather
of a-
armor the whole time. It's been a whole scene.
and then we arrest her because we have Cop Mortimer around, who is, a good man
Thanks.
and awesome.
Fat Morty.
yeah.
Fat
Mortimer,
Morty.
please. Not
So yeah,
Mortimer. Is that what happened?
That's it. You did a
more
great
or
job.
less. Pretty much, yeah. That was most of all of it.
It was like you were
yeah,
there.
right.
Like I played it.
So, how did everybody feel about starting this new adventure?
Good.
Going into a brand new world, brand new everything, brand new characters, and I guess like going into the idea of obviously you all know each other now that we all know each other, but as far as your characters going, having your characters not know each other for the first time and walking into the situation, what was your guys' feelings of walking into this game?
So it was interesting for me because while I have been on obviously season 1, this was my first time starting a campaign with you guys. So it was fun to do the new character dynamics and try and figure out, okay, new story, new person, trying to figure it all out. So that was fun. Yeah.
For
I was
sure.
really impressed at how good Nick is at just being like, all right, we're a party now. Done.
Well, because we're all friends in real life, so it's like, why
Yeah.
are we going to go through the whole like, do I trust you? Do I not
Yeah.
trust you? Are we going to the same place? And then what if all of a sudden Mortimer and Surreal realize, hey, these people aren't going where we want them to go, so we're going to split the party. And then what's Bucky going to do? I'm just trying to help Bucky out. He wants us all to be together.
But I feel like also your backstory self-lended it to that idea
Oh,
of like,
yeah.
oh look, more people, hey!
For sure.
You
that's,
immediately just wanted new friends.
Oh, without a
Yeah.
doubt. More people to watch his
You're a
show.
bard, and new friends means new money.
Exactly. I recall Barty was not successful in convincing everyone to pay him before a show even happens. I don't know.
The pitch
You're
needed
right,
some
yeah.
work.
Yeah, sorry. But I mean, this is the first time we've started a campaign in a while. I mean, we started Curse of Strahd years ago.
Summer of 2016.
Yeah. So there's something a little bit different about starting new characters that are intended to be long running characters as opposed to starting characters that are just meant for 1 or 2 sessions. So it was interesting because I had forgotten what it felt like to start a character knowing that this is going to be going on for a while and see where the character what difference I see on the page written versus what comes out when I start playing it. So it's really, really fun. I like that for starting a new campaign.
For me, it was good to actually have a long-running character for the first time in since before Strahd. So it was cool to actually have something to invest in for a while. Oh, until he dies.
When was the last time you played like a long campaign where you weren't the DM?
When John was doing his homebrew game in 2015, 2016.
Damn.
Yeah, that was where you played Zabi.
Yeah.
Zabi.
Which people
That was
would
the
know
first time.
Zabby from the podcast Waterdeep finale. That was my homebrew world character.
It's tough because, Curse of Strahd did take a lot of time, so it doesn't really give you an opportunity to play if you're DMing, for a long running game.
Yeah.
So takes a lot.
We had the one shots here and there where I got to play a little bit, like Podcast of Foes that John ran. I DM'd the POA and POW one. But we had also into Ivy Mansion you ran, so I got to play here and there, but nothing with a lot of stake to it. I just had like recurring characters. But also, it was Hannah's first time playing with us.
Mm-hmm.
And she got to experience our ridiculousness.
Yeah.
Fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Did any of you guys actually somewhat feel, considering we've only had the one long campaign beforehand, Nick, that was obviously your first introduction to D&D and all that. Did you half expect going into this game that I was going to pull another fast one on all of you? Josh did in the first campaign, being like, yeah, we're going to play Storm King's Thunder. And then all of a sudden I'm like, nope, out of the abyss, go to the Underdark.
Well, I'm
half expect something like that to happen.
selfish. I mean, kind of. Josh set a precedence on my first D&D game that like like whatever you see, don't expect, or whatever I've told you, I could be lying. It's all. So now I've noticed that every single time I go into a new campaign or I start a game, I'm like, okay, where's the twist gonna be? There's gonna be something different. We're gonna end up somewhere completely new. But I like the idea that. You haven't done that. We're playing a narrative, and we're sticking with our guns that we prepared for, which is awesome.
For now.
I
Yeah,
did not expect you to switch from Storm King Thunders, because I feel like I heard you talk about Storm King's Thunder every 45 minutes for like a year.
I mean, I could have just been playing the long con.
You could have.
Yeah.
You could have. It would have been the most
Which
committed.
I did think about for a while, and I was like, no.
Yeah. No, it's been I obviously did not have the fast switch of we're gonna be playing Lost Mines Zestrad. But no, I think it's good. There's always a little bit of like awkwardness, like any first episode or first session where you're trying to figure out not just your dynamics with your other people, but like who your character is.
Yeah.
And like trying to find that voice and that tone, because like you might, like, we've been thinking about these characters for so long, but to actually sit down and be like, all right, I'm Surreal. Like Surreal ended up going through some personality changes just from when I had originally planned her, and then actually playing her, I was like, oh, you're a little different than I expected. Okay. So there's always that kind of fitting into your own shoes, like finding that kind of out.
I've had that experience with every character I've made so far. Of it will be A. It's more a little bit of B.
Mm-hmm.
Just
I
yeah.
experienced that with Moose too. She was significantly less of a lunatic when I first started her, and then
Yeah. Surreal
Goblin
was
Murder.
Surreal was much more of a like more of a playboy, and like and not as caring about that kind of stuff. And I think like playing her, I was like, ah, maybe in her past, but now she's a delicate little baby. She's on the inside, on the outside, she's a fucking monster.
So I feel like another thing that we can probably delve a little bit into, we can step back a little bit before everything kind of happened and delve into the love letters that I ended up reading each of you guys. Because when we started playing, I purposefully told everybody I wasn't reading love letters to take off their headphones, so that when we finally edited the first episode and we sent that out for everybody to listen to, that was your first time of getting any sort of backstory about the characters that you've been traveling with this whole time. So how did it feel for you guys to have been playing this game to not know these things, and then all of a sudden kind of be introduced to this idea of like, oh, each of these characters kind of has this like thing that's kind of that they're kind of holding onto, or something that like keeps them grounded, or something that's mysterious about them?
It's funny because we're so far ahead now in episodes that we've recorded, at listening to the first episode and finding that it was like missing a puzzle piece, and then I was just like, ah! So I like messaged Hannah and I was like, I know shit about Moose, and she was like, you don't know shit about Moose.
Yeah, I feel like they were not as elucidating as I wanted them to be.
Uh-huh.
Like we had learned so much already about who these characters were, just in their personality and their behavior. I don't know. They were beautifully written, Bucky. They were wonderful.
you.
You did great. But I don't feel like that they like opened this huge door, which I think was expertly done. I don't think like we know everything now about these characters.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
for starting out though, like it's really good for like people who are just listening and introducing. It was funny to go back.
Yeah.
Is my point. Is like for you guys who are just listening for the first time, getting that puzzle piece at the beginning is really cool because you're like, oh, I don't know where this puzzle piece is going to go, and then for us, it's like 6 months later, we're like, that piece, it goes here.
Oh, you son of a bitch!
Yeah, I've
How
had a
did you hide
blank
this from me?
space. I've had a Taylor Swift blank space here, and I got to fit it in. It's awesome.
Well, the idea of sorry,
Go ahead, Nick. Go.
the idea of love letters. I mean, I thought that it's just a really really fun idea because with Curse of Strahd, I mean, our characters all had these backstories that we had prepared, but I feel like maybe a little bit with Ven, not so much with Kent and Mikhail, but like it took us a while to get into and learn more about not just what's currently happening with these characters, but where they come from, their motivations and stuff. So these little love letters just give you just a snippet of like, okay, here's a little bit of their backstory or here's why they are at the place that they are at the beginning. So love the addition.
So I can't tell you what happened in those love letters, despite QCing the episode so many times, because as people tend to have learned about me, I don't like spoilers, and that includes the show that I'm also playing in. So I subconsciously tuned out and blurred the audio through that whole sequence. I couldn't tell you what they were about. I have no idea, and I prefer it that way. I'll listen to it when we're done.
You're so
think-
anti-spoiler. Oh my god.
I vaguely remember Surreals being about Mary, and that's it.
Yeah, I've heard about Mary so much just from hanging out with Morgan and Morgan talking
We live
about stuff.
together.
Yeah, I find out some
Other
stuff.
thing.
But I do have to thank Lauren from Nerds on a Roll, Lauren Peterson. He was the one who initially brought that idea of love letters up to me. He did it a little differently in the way that when we did masks, it was more so a precursor to the event that was about to happen. Not so much a delving into the backstory of a character or giving like a little snippet of like who this person is. So I kind of adapted his idea, and instead of it being like, this is the moments that lead up to what's about to happen now, it was more so an idea of like, okay, this is half writing it to give a little bit of a snippet for the audience of like who this character kind of is behind the scenes, and that there's this other motivation that they're maybe not willing to talk about at this moment, but also to help you guys as players get into that mindset of your characters, and to help you guys kind of develop that idea of like, okay, I'm starting out new. I'm starting out a new character. I don't know what this character is going to be. I have a complete idea in my head of what I think it's going to be, but once we play, things could change, like we said before. So it was that idea of like trying to help you guys solidify that idea of like, this is who my character is. I have to remember that this is where they came from, and that kind of motivates what the actions that they're going to perform going forward. And afterwards, I ended up giving everybody their own love letters. I sent them to them so that they can read through them if they wanted to.
And if you want to see Lauren's version of that, you can listen to Lab Rats. That's when he introduced that to all of us.
Yep.
Yeah.
What else can we talk about? What else we got to talk about? Any other points anybody wants to bring up? Any questions?
I personally enjoyed our interaction between Kella Darkhole.
My God. Guys, the moment that Bucky bust open that accent, God, it took us like maybe 5 minutes for us to all calm down and get back to playing again. We were like, ah!
That's like the quintessential moment that like Morgan has been waiting for her whole life of inside check, and then the inside check finally works, and you're like, ha ha!
We're turning a new leaf for taking initiative, okay? Curse of Strahd did not do any fucking investigation checks. We didn't do any insight checks, and we were clueless losers the whole time.
The best is right before that, right before the reveal that she's not who she says she is. I'm pretty sure only 2 people did the inside check, while the rest of us were just like, I have no reason to not believe her. She's a nice traveler. We'll just believe her.
Mortimer succeeded his, and Surreal didn't.
Right.
So I was like, she's cool.
And so it was like, I got this bag. There's muffins.
Yeah, that's cool. And then it was just like, oh no, Jesus in time spot. I was like, oh fuck, you lied to me.
Quick, by the way, Drew is not here because Drew is moving and he is packing all his stuff. The hashtag Too Dead, Too Furious is from last season when he went through 17 characters. He's actually very much alive. He's just moving. Just wanted to clarify
He's
that.
more metaphysically deceased.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People are when they move.
Mentally exhausted, that kind of thing. Yeah.
It was funny listening to Nick talk about like, oh, I had to plan for your character for a long campaign. And I was like, Drew doesn't do that. Drew plans for a character to survive until the next episode.
Every time have the lowest expectations if they survive to the next episode. It's, hey, what a surprise!
Well, the other day he brought up, he was like, "Oh, I have my next character idea ready." I'm like, "Zell's not. What do you just focus on that?" But that's how Drew does it. He has his book of characters.
Same, honestly.
You know, it's funny though.
Shake one out and it would tumble down fully formed. Like,
It's funny because based on our Discord, Zell has become quite the fan favorite. So I'm pretty sure he would get a lot of anger if Zell actually got killed. So we'd probably have to drag that lanky 7-foot cat corpse to cleric.
Interreal's baby
like-
Bjorn.
Yeah,
That's one thing I've actually told the party the entire time is very much since this is a very big departure from Strahd and then all of that, like the idea of people being revived and the idea of being able to help people even after death is a lot more prominent and available in the world of Faerun as opposed to Barovia, where it's like, oh, you're dead, too bad.
Bye
Sucks to be you.
I know,
to suck.
But Drew kind of put that idea in my head. So it's like I was re-listening back to the first few episodes, and I already am starting to think of like, okay, well, like I don't want Barty to die, but if he were to die, I want to have an idea so that way I can get right back. I would love to get right back into it. I don't want to miss out on any of this story. So
It depends though, right? Because like I feel like the character, if I had done that with Roz, if I had been like, all right, I'm gonna come up with a secondary character, that character wouldn't have been Charlotte, right? Like because the way that Roz died was really important to who I wanted to play after Roz died.
good point.
So like I don't think Charlotte would have existed if I had come up with something in the beforehand, you know?
Yeah.
But even more so, she could have. But I mean, the idea of, I guess, her and Krusk being together wouldn't have happened because Drew wouldn't have known that Drew wouldn't have been around at that time.
But honestly, though, because Charlotte was really like when it was because Drew and I both died at the same time,
Right.
Or Roz and Ferguson, because I was like, all right, we're gonna have to bring two characters in. What if we bring a married couple? What would that look like? And that's when I came through with Charlotte.
Right.
So if I didn't have the kind of impetus to say I need a couple, Charlotte wouldn't have existed because I wouldn't have thought of her in that way.
All right, so I won't start rolling up my second character now.
Yeah, wait.
And also, Nick, you brought up a good point of like when you die, you want to have your character to immediately come back in. But the moment between Ven and Kent after the death and not having someone join immediately, I felt was important of feeling that loss. And feeling like just an incomplete party, at least for like some of a session. We went through it pretty quickly, but if you just kind of hop in with another character, it's like, oh, that's fine. We're good. Which we basically did with Mikhail and Abraham. Of like, oh, Mikhail's dead, but here's Abraham.
Right. I mean, man, in my case, like I've obviously, since I'm running the game and I don't have that long-term character, I've been thinking of different ideas and characters and things that I would want to play because I have that ability because I'm not currently attached to anybody right now. But even when I was playing Ven, I didn't really think too far in advance of like another character that I was going to play afterwards if Ven happened to die because I was still playing him. It was mostly just like loose ideas of like, oh, that would be cool to play or that would be interesting to delve into. But it was never anything solid.
And I like how we've built characters. Sorry for interrupting. I like how we've built characters off of each other's characters as well. Like the entire Brickwood line that we have been creating. Petros that you brought into Podcasts of Waterdeep has direct connections to Ven. I like how we've expanded our own universe because we care about each other's characters so much. And also Heinz with Mikhail. Yep. The whole cleansing hand thing. I like how we've built on
I feel like
that.
that's just a part of group collaboration. It's not only just the story that you're making, but you're making these characters, and those characters have lives, and ideas spawn from other ideas.
Yeah.
essentially.
Not gonna lie, the idea that popped into my head is it was based off of something that Moose had said in her, like when she was telling a little bit about her backstory. I was like, ooh, like I was thinking back, and I was like, ooh, that would be interesting to play off of that and make a decision. You know, so we do. You're
Yeah.
right. We do love each other's characters, and
Yeah.
it breeds more creativity.
Which was also something else that I did before this game started. Was I kind of like went and told everybody like, hey, you aren't gonna really know each other too well at the beginning of this game. So is there anybody who wants to like have some history with another character beforehand? And you guys kind of like brought that up, where you were like, oh well, maybe Surreal and Mortimer kind of know each other, and then Barty and Moose were like, yeah, maybe we're in the same town and we kind of want to start together. So before that even started, everyone was like, yeah, I kind of have these little snippets of like information I know about these other people, and I had chats with each individual group. Like I had a chat with Nick and Hannah, and I was like, hey, this is what you guys are doing. What do you guys know each other? And then they ended up just talking for a while, being like, hey, this is what you would know about my character. And that kind of spawned a conversation. And I did the same. I didn't really have to do the same with Josh and Morgan because they talked all the damn time about their characters. So I was like, you just got to tell me what you already have, because just tell me what's good.
Not gonna lie, that conversation with you and Hannah, honestly, like really kind of made Bart like formed Barty more into who he ended up being, because you know I don't go into like extensive backstory and preparation. I do put a lot of thought into it, but it's not until I get into actually playing the character do I start to learn who it is. So just talking it out with you and Hannah, I was like, oh, okay, so Barty is this, and he is more likely to do this in this situation. So it's really, really awesome.
Yeah.
Honestly, the best thing that came out of that chat was, and this probably hasn't really come up in the game, so I'm going to drop it here. Moose definitely is like a secret Barty McFly fangirl. She's always like trying to be cooler about it than she actually is, but inside she's like,
He's just so pretty and
'Cause she-
sings and
she's a
So
teenage
talented.
girl.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing that people are quick to forget about Moose, is that she's very young.
Mhm.
Like she's like what, 16, maybe 15 years old.
A little older, but she's 19.
Yeah,
I don't think that's
yeah.
ever been explicitly stated. But she is, I mean, she's 19 years old. She's a whole mess of problems.
Yeah. And like I know Surreal and Mortimer are like late 20s, 30s. So like we're a little older, we're a little bit more battered. Zell is 15. Zell is a baby.
Zell is a baby.
It's
And I believe
literally a
Barty's
party.
actually kind of relatively, I guess he would be relatively older for the sake of his race, because Eric Hawker
Yeah.
don't live to be that old.
He'd be like early to mid 20s.
Yeah.
Our party is literally just like two awful children, their bleak parents, and like their weird uncle.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'll because we were talking before about like our characters being off of other things. I will say, and I won't have any more context to this, that Mortimer in some form exists in something that TI players have been in, and I will leave that. We'll find that out later, probably.
Oh, you mean like his history and where he's from?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Now I got to go back and listen to all of our old episodes. All right, I'm gonna start right after the stream.
We've
all right,
been in a bunch of stuff.
All right, we're 30 minutes in. Anybody else have anything they want to say before we start dipping into some questions?
Questions. Preguntas.
Questions. So this is actually a good first question, considering this is everything is new and all things are new. This is from Kintaro PC. I think this is the first talking initiative with Hannah. So welcome, Hannah. As an outsider, what's it like partying with this group of weirdos?
Fucking delightful. Great. I remember the first few sessions, I would like wake up in the morning and my eyes would pop open and I would be like, it's D&D day. It's great. It's awesome. Obviously Morgan and I have known each other for a while. I was here first. And then she started playing this game with Josh and Nick and Bucky and Drew. And then they lost Donna, and Morgan was like, hey, we've been talking about this. Do you really want to come play this game, right? And she like wore me down.
Like
after a
wink,
couple
wink,
of
nudge,
months.
nudge. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
It was funny about that because you were like, I just don't think like I could ever be recorded. And I was like, I mean, that's valid. But you should get over that.
Yeah. And I was super busy. And she wore me down. And the rest, as they say, is history. And it's been wonderful. And I love every second of it.
and it was in the moment where finally when she's like, "Hey, we're gonna do this thing," and then we played the game together, which was not recorded. We all played kind of like a game together, just to like bring Hannah in and introduce her to us, and like bring her in. Like, this is kind of what it's gonna be like. And then afterwards, she created the backstory for Moose, and then I was like, "All right, let's see how this goes." And the title of the backstory she gave me was "Will the real Moose please stand up? I hate myself for making this title, and I'm going to die now," or something along that. And I was like, "Oh, you're gonna fit in great."
Yeah. I will say, like, and I'm biased because Hannah's been one of my best friends for about 10 years, and I love her. But she fit in so well with our group from like the get-go that it was just perfect. It was just like, it feels like she's been here all along.
Mhm.
So it felt really good. There was one moment from episode, oh no, it's in episode 5. I can't talk about it yet because we're talking about 1 through 4.
Wait until next time.
Yeah. And
Hold it.
I will say with Hannah joining that some of my favorite RP sessions has been between Hannah and myself.
Yeah,
Lucifer.
the Moose Mortimer dynamic is really interesting.
Moosimer.
No, I'm not shipping it. Not shipping it.
Oh man,
No.
that's your
Start your fanfics now.
I will make that ship a battleship and I'll sink it right here.
It is funny that like the first like, ooh, we should ship, and like the Discord has been with the person that is so anti or like so uninterested in shipping. It's just like, why? But yeah, I will say that Hannah is really, really good at role playing and having. There are decisions that Hannah makes for Moose in this campaign. We haven't gotten there yet, but I have been so impressed with her as a player, and I've tried to take some of those lessons to how I do play like my characters and how I approach situations, because she's really good at role playing and committing to her character's mindset, and it's impressive to watch.
Damn, dude, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, who wants to do the next question?
Friendship.
I'll pick a question.
Do it up.
Let's see. Very quickly, I don't know if Nick's seen this question yet, but Rogue 2015 said, "When are we going to get a TI character added to Idle Champions? My vote is for Kent Brickwood of the East Farthing Brickwoods."
I would love it.
Yeah, I would love it as well. I'll be honest. I'll bring it up to Clive and be like, "Hey, man, so what's the chances of doing it?" I can't promise anything, but I can ask.
Yeah.
That would be absolutely
Doesn't hurt
amazing.
to ask.
No, not at all. Clive and Eric and the Idle Champions team is a wonderful group of people. We got to meet some of them at some of the past conventions, and also Eric at D&D Live.
Yeah.
And Nick
Give
is
us
wearing the
dice.
shirt. Oh yeah, we got the dice as well.
Yeah.
They were very, very
I
friendly.
like that
They
die.
were so nice.
And as a reminder, you always can get a free gold chest if you look in any episode description. Those codes are good for 2 weeks, so feel free to get free stuff in that.
Hey, Morgan, why don't you ask a question?
All right, I'm going to ask this of Hannah, and I know she's not going to tell me shit, but I want to see if she will say something. Moose seems to really enjoy killing Gerblins. Is this a
Gerblins?
background favorite enemy thing, or is this just a hatred of evil things?
I will say that there is usually a personal reason for genocide. I was gonna say a good reason, but there's never a good reason.
Not a good one. Good phrasing. Good phrasing.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, Moose has some. I made a crack the other day that Moose means about 12 years of therapy. That's
Yeah.
part of it. You'll find out, I'm sure. Bucky's got some stuff bubbling in his noggin.
I got
I,
plans for all y'all.
I don't know how you keep track of it. Oh my god, we all have such like
Yeah.
Lots and lots of Google Docs. Then I just go, where did I put that one thing I thought about 3 months ago? Oh, there it is.
Yeah. Kyle, I see you in Discord. #Moosimer. Get that shit out of here. Out,
Yeah.
out the window.
Hannah's delighted.
Yeah.
This is 19 years old.
Yeah. A baby. She's a baby.
Mortimer's only in his 20s. That's not that weird.
I think I'm 27, 29, something like that.
It's all right.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Some
kinda
weird, like, fantasy grooming, sex abuse.
Okay. So, Hannah, why don't you ask a question? Do you have the doc open?
Me? I do. Let's see. So, I want to ask one, but Drew isn't here to answer it.
We'll hold on to that for
Okay.
next time.
Yeah.
I'm also down for answering things as Drew.
Okay, I can do it. I get it.
as answering questions as Zell.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Zell.
I
and
don't
would
know
like
what you mean by this thing, but
God, that breathy voice is so
Yeah.
unsettling.
Hello, friends.
So
he's
good.
so good at
So
it.
good.
No, let's just hold on to the Drew questions for when Drew can get here.
So I am interested personally, Bucky. What are your side quest plans for Storm King Slender?
Yeah. Can
Stole
you give
my
us
question.
So,
Spoilers.
will there be side quests for Storm Kings? That was always more the Meanwhile series. As far as when we were doing Strahd, was always kind of this thing that was, hey, we have all these players, and several of them also DM from time to time. It was more of that, hey, while you're playing this character, if you have that DM itch, you can like explore that. You can have that ability to maybe run a game. So that's actually something that I've opened up to any and all of you, that if any of you were interested in running a game and wanted to have a chance at DMing in the world of Storm Kings, there's all the different Adventurers League games that tie in with Storm King's Thunder that you can read through. There's, I mean, if you guys wanted to come up with something else and just put it in Faerun somewhere and be like, hey, this is something that's happening at the same time, any of you guys are more than welcome to DM a game. So it could happen. We could have a Meanwhile in Faerun type thing where any of these players or anybody else can have a bunch of guests and run a game. So for now, I'll say maybe.
So
Solid
tangentially related to this, going back to like playing with y'all, I played in my first Adventurers League game ever when we were in LA for the podcast
Epic.
event.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I have to say it's been really awesome, like getting involved in the D&D community with y'all and like meeting all of these great WotC people and all of these other streamers who are just so cool and talented and beautiful. So that's been great. Okay.
I mean, you don't have to specifically call out the Australians as much as you just did because you know.
They're so funny. They're so funny. I hate them. It's just like easy
Charismatic people.
assholes.
What was that, Morgan?
we talk about Australia, it's fine. Moving on. Yeah.
All right, Nick, why don't you ask a question?
Josh, you might have covered this a little bit more, but you can get more into it. Has
Sure.
it been hard transition going from DM seat to the player seat?
Hard transition, I would say no, because Strahd was my first DMA experience, so a lot of my experience came from being a player in games. I didn't I know some people always had the always DM thing of they started being the DM and that was the person they've always gone to, so they never really got to play a game. I've experienced both sides, so switching has not been difficult. It's actually been pretty fun. I do get the DM itch from time to time, though. So we've ran a game here at the apartment. I'm now running a home game, which hopefully continues with some of the Wolf 359 people. So I get to do that. But hard switching to this play, no. I've also had Bucky as my DM before, so this is nothing new for me.
Okay, I want to ask these two questions because they're both for Nick and they both cover the same topic. We'll ask this one first from Rogue 2015. Is Flock Brown a hostage or Barty the hostage just with a hefty case of Stockholm Syndrome?
Okay, I'm gonna plead the fifth on this one because we have a lot more episodes to go, and I would like the backstory of Flock Brown and Barty McFly to be revealed naturally.
Spoiler, they each think that they're holding the other one hostage.
Okay, I'll tell you the truth. We were both born with two pieces of an amulet, and we found each other. Now we are forced to follow each other for the rest of our lives. That'd be so cool.
You're like some
write it down.
parents making them hold hands, except it's for like 20 years.
Be friends. Be friends.
This is our get along shirt.
So part two for that is for Nick. This is from Kintaro PC. For Nick, what was the inspiration for Barty McFly and Flock Brown? Clearly, this caused a visceral reaction amongst the cast, but it must have been an inside joke. Please explain.
It wasn't so much of an inside joke, but I just wanted to so I had already decided. Everybody in the party has basically told me, "Hey, Nick, you should play a bard. You should give it a try. If you haven't thought about it, you should totally try it." So I was like, "Okay, well, let's stick with a bard." But I wanted to do something different, and I wanted to try some homebrew stuff. So I went with an Aarakocra, and all I was looking for were bird puns. That was all I was looking for, is just different type of bird puns. And I just happened to be watching Back to the Future, and I was like, oh my god, Barty McFly is perfect. But other than that, it's just, it's like a small idea that just starts to grow and grow and grow. And Flock Brown soon came right after that, because Barty McFly needs a companion. And who better to have than Flock Brown?
You also gave us Sebastian Silvertongue early on.
Silvertongue, that is true.
And that was like us going, that is just the perfect class for Nick at all times.
Well, I also didn't realize that, like, you guys were going to make me sing. You saw it first episode. Josh was like, all right, give me a song. Everybody. And I was like, oh no. I'm a maestro bard. But it's super fun, and it puts me out of my element, but also feels very natural. So it's really cool.
What I will say is that we knew about Barty McFly for a long time. What they had kept from us was Flock Brown until that episode, like until we were actually recording, and that's when we all fucking lost our minds, because we were like, oh, that's the joke, it's funny, we're over, and then we were like, boom, like, bitch, you thought.
Yeah, that was probably one of the most difficult things I've ever had to do, was hold on to that joke for a year.
So good.
I read the backstory and immediately face palmed and was crying in front of my laptop, reading this story that Nick gave me, and I was like, you have doomed me to hold this joke until we start playing.
After we recorded, I was legitimately worried my microphone was muted, because I laughed so hard I wanted to keep that for the audio, and thankfully I had it on.
Yeah. Man. But I think the point is that, like, Nick is such a natural bard, because he's always singing and he's always dancing and he's always, like, giving out those good vibes and, like, giving inspiration in the way that he is. So I think it was a very natural fit for him.
It's also not only just that he's like that very charismatic person, it's also the fact that Nick literally has known nothing about D&D this whole time. He has no context of what a lot of people do who have been playing D&D for so long. So going into it, you literally read the things you have and you go, can I do this with this? And I'm like, oh, fuck. All right, sure. And you just come up with these batshit crazy ideas because you're like, well, the text says this, and I don't know what this is supposed to fucking do.
That is true. I mean, every single time we sit down for a session, I realize something new that a character can do in this world. You could do anything. And my best moments are suggesting something stupid that actually works. So
and we all just kind of look at each other like,
did he just suggest that?
Did that actually do that? Okay, Josh.
Let's see here. Well, I guess this is good for us because Drew's not here. This is from Fantastic. Any concerns in the party about whether or not Zell has had all of his shots? And does lesser restoration cure rabies?
Listen, I don't think anybody's worried about him having rabies. I do think we're worried about him just being dumb as fuck. Like,
getting us killed in a different way.
Yeah. Lesser restoration doesn't kill stupid.
He's gonna bring home a viper and be like, "I knew that."
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, is that, like, it's funny listening to or like reading people's like responses in the Discord about Zell, because the first like 2 episodes, the first like big sessions that we had for Zell, we were like, he's literally gonna get us all killed. Like, there was a lot of like, but
Morgan and I had several frantic texts like, "Oh my god, what is gonna happen?"
I'm like,
what the fuck?
Like, we thought for a minute, we were like, Drew is gonna have a new record, and it's gonna be like his character goes in like session 1, and we'll kill him ourselves.
The rest of the party will turn against him.
Yeah, but you know what? But going back to like character decisions, I've been really impressed with Hannah, and I've been really impressed with Drew this season. Like, at first I didn't quite get Zell, and I was a little frustrated because I was like, he's not really participating in like the goblin fights. He'll run away or he'll do stuff. But like, that has turned into such a really cool commitment to a character and like a really interesting style of play that I think Drew is building on, and like really giving a new dynamic sort of role play style to our show. And it's really good. So Yeah.
Yeah, I initially.
It also brings-
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say it also brings like a lot of levity to situations that we would probably also be really pissed off in.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, I think we all initially thought the playstyle was going to be a party hindrance, and it has proven to be not that way. We just
Yeah.
didn't expect the way that it would turn, like the thing it would turn into. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, okay, we understand the angle you're going with. This is a completely valid thing, because when you're sitting at a table and someone at the table is doing their own thing of like, this is my character, this is what they would do, that doesn't always work. But
Yeah.
he has turned that into a party support mechanic, which has worked actually very well.
Yeah.
I think people are going to be really excited and really interested, like when we get further in this campaign, of like how Zell evolves for combat and how Zell evolves in the overall party dynamic, because it's really interesting. It's really good.
Yeah.
Definitely. All right, Morgan, why don't you ask a question?
Oh, I gotta ask a question. Shoot.
You might get through all of them.
Let's see. For the roomies, how do y'all play and record? Do y'all play and record in the same room as they're yelling between rooms when the DM pulls a fast one in the party? We do not record in the same room. John records in his room. I'm in Josh and mine's bedroom, and then we have Gavin's room, Josh's son, and our recording room, and our board game room. You can see behind Josh's head. So we all record in different spaces. There's not a lot of bleed over between rooms.
No.
I hear John yelling sometimes through the doorway.
Yeah.
But it doesn't catch on mic.
He was
then you'll
recording. Sorry.
I'm loud. What do you want? What do you want?
He was recording Meanwhile the other day, and we heard him in our bedroom, which is on the clear other side of the apartment, because some shit went down in Meanwhile.
It's just like a very sudden,
Does.
whoa! Like, oh, okay, something happened.
I love it. I mean, my fiance Jess sits right here while I record in the next room, and she only hears my side of our recording. So it's like every once in a while, I'll just yell out this absurd sentence, and she just texts me like, "Are you okay in there? What the hell's happening?" You know?
Yeah. And the other good thing about us all living together as far as running the game is that like a lot of things, like if there's ever any questions after a session of like, oh, I didn't really quite understand that, or like I kind of need a little bit more explanation for what that is, like we can in person, like after the game at any moment, just be like, can you just answer this really quickly, or like, hey, I have this development for a character that I like want to talk about. So a lot of times we do end up like very briefly talking about the game afterwards, but for the most part we try and, I would say, not for the sake of keeping the story going and not spoiling anything for everybody.
Yeah.
So it's cool to have that ability to be able to be like, actually, like, do you have a picture of what the thing looked like, or can I get a better view of like maybe what the map was? But like as far as story wise, we try and keep things a little like, let's hold it until the next game.
Yeah, I think the closest thing we did between like yelling between rooms was when you and I were on Ted's Nerd Immersion stream, and something awesome happened. I walked into your room just to give you a high five,
Yep,
and then
high
came
five,
back.
and then go back.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's
Yep.
the closest thing.
It's really disorienting to be, in Virginia with all of these people who are in New York and existing in like these little computer boxes to see like Josh go give Morgan a kiss in the middle of streaming, like when we take a break, and I'm like, oh right. And like Morgan gives Bucky a drink. It's very strange.
Yeah. I think that is the most interaction, is like when Josh comes in to get something, or I go in and
Yeah.
There's
So-
always a brief moment of like, oh right.
Yeah. And
all right.
just to also, Nick is not in New York. He is in Jersey, but he works in New York with us.
Excuse me.
I'm right across the water.
Yeah,
I can see
right
you
over
guys.
there.
You're
And
right
soon Drew will be in Georgia. We'll be
Mhm.
moving back
He'll be
there,
closer
so he'll be way closer to you. All right, so Hannah.
Okay, so how does it feel as a group to shift from the gothic horror of Strahd to fantasy mystery? The person who asked this, who is the Sea Vengeance? I'm not familiar with SKT story, so I'm learning with each episode.
I love it. I love it. I get scared very easily, and I have nightmares. So the gothic horror thing,
those
out of there.
first few sessions, dude. I remember talking to you at work after Strahd's first couple sessions, and you were like, I haven't been able to sleep. The lights have been on. I've been careful where I've been going.
I was living in my parents' basement at the time, and it's very dark and scary down there. So it's like I was dealing with all this like gothic feel, and then things jumping out of you. And then we recorded at night, so it's like, okay, we would get this like dark, ghosts and specters coming around, and then all of a sudden it's like, all right, everyone, good night. And I'm like, oh, I gotta shut my lights off. Oh no.
Well, Bucky's over here like more zombies.
But I mean, not only just that, but the whole mystery aspect. It's a lot more information that I need to keep track of and remember. I felt like with Kent, I kind of designed the character to be young and not really know his surroundings, so it kind of gave me an out as to not really understanding the world. I was still learning. So with Barty, there's less of an excuse for that, so I definitely need to make sure that I'm taking notes and keeping track of everything, and but it's made it more fun and given me a lot more to work off of.
And also your recrap.
My recraps have been great.
I mean, that's a good name for it.
How have you
honestly.
They're basically
Yeah, I've been really enjoying it because I think that Strahd, by design, Strahd is fucking bleak, right? Like there's sort of a slog there, and Bucky has been really good in Storm King so far as to be able to adapt it a little bit to what we wanted more as players, and to kind of change some things around. Like Strahd feels very small in a lot of ways because Barovia is very small, and there's a very definitive grind to what your goal is. And Storm Kings is a lot more open, and so we have a lot more opportunity to do stuff where we're like, we want more puzzles, and Bucky
And
will
then
make us
Bucky
a
writes a
puzzle.
12-page puzzle.
Yeah, so like it does give us a little bit more flexibility with us to say, hey, I want to go here and just do it, and not have to have a character die on the way, like, so it feels a little bit more hopeful, and a little bit more like there's a lot more opportunity, I would say, for it.
I obviously wasn't in Strahd, but I listened to a bunch of it before I started with y'all. And I think there's also like a lot more space narratively in Storm King's Thunder. So we have a lot of space to like build these relationships and like figure out what's going on with all of our characters and like all of these side characters, which I know that there were in Strahd, but I think that there's a lot of possibility there in the world being so massive.
And the possibility for NPCs to have more than one accent. So that's great.
Yeah.
You guys haven't run into him yet, but one of my favorite NPCs came up in like our last 2 sessions. Oh God, Bucky, you're so good at dumb accents.
That's about all I'm good at is dumb accents.
I will say, space, I think, for narrative, and also just time, right? Because like if you really look at Strahd, besides the year that we put in there narratively to give us some breathing room to develop characters and bring Charlotte and Kreskin in a cohesive and like smart way, like if we didn't have that year break, Strahd narratively is like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's so fast. Like when we go back from that 1 year break, it's like, I think it's like 5 days.
Yeah, about that.
In game from when like we come back and take on the Death House to when Bucky single-handedly murders Strahd. So like it felt very like that is a very small amount of time, and there's a lot of like great character development that happens in that amount of time, especially since like it took us 3 years to record. But I think for Storm Kings, we also have more opportunity for time. Like it's not you're stuck here, suffer.
Yeah.
So
Josh, did you want to say something?
The one question I was going to ask Hannah, and you brought up briefly, was that since you were not in it, was Curse of Strahd, after listening to some of it and hearing about it, something that you would have wanted to play in?
So I am the kind of person that wants to play in all D&D games all the time. I don't care what it is. I don't care what's going on. I just want to do the dice game. Just give it to me. But yeah, like I'm not a fan of horror, but there's something about playing in a horror game that's really interesting. I think it like taps something in me that I don't normally engage in. Yeah, absolutely. And it was fun. Y'all had a great time with it. And I was like, oh, I do actually want to do this.
Yeah.
So at least going back to the question about the tonal shift, for me, at least this season so far has been a pretty significant challenge. Going from Strahd, which you said before, is very closed off and very linear, and it's basically like, this is your world. It's very closed in. Your job is to escape. This is what your goal is from start to finish. Do the thing. With Storm Kings, and for any people who are interested in DMing Storm Kings or want to like run this game going forward, it is very, very vast. It is a very large game, and there is a linear storyline to it, but there is a lot of freedom and a lot of opportunity for your players to just go, we don't want to do that, and they just go somewhere else. So having that concept in what we do here as a podcast and having a story-driven podcast doesn't really lend itself as if this was a home game and we were doing it in person and like we had maps and strategy and like all these things that we can do, but we didn't have to record. Great. It's a wonderful game. But taking the story that Storm King provides and kind of make this kind of linear progression story happen for the players that kind of ties in their stories and like brings all these people together, it's been a very big challenge. And for a lot of what we have to do, I've spent a lot of time writing more and more and more like homebrew things to incorporate into the game. Just as a warning for anyone who's interested in running this game, I do enjoy the story a lot. But there is a very, very high probability of your players just being like, we're going to go off and do a different thing. And it kind of lends itself to that idea of making improv things happen, having things happen on the fly, having several ideas available at once as a DM that you can just drop into any moment and be like, this is what happens now. So just as a warning and a precaution for anybody interested. And also, it's not all negative. It has been a very rewarding experience and has been very cool to have all of these things that I've been writing, because a lot of these things that I've been writing may ending up on like DM's Guild or something that if I end up formatting them and making them right. But yeah, it's been fun. I enjoy these guys. I enjoy these players and these characters that they've made because they make some crazy zany shit happen. Yeah. So any closing thoughts before we finish out? Because we're about on the hour.
No, I'm good. We only had a few questions left, which we can pass into the next episode of Talking Initiative, which will be on August 24th.
Cool. Oh shit, that weekend is also going to be Beyonder.
Yes, yeah. And we're also recording before Talking Initiative.
That's a busy weekend.
So you brought up Beyonder. Very quick, I think this is the first time we're announcing it. I'm going to be running a stream Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern featuring the game Beyonder, which I played in with the Drunks and Dragons guys. I played with Tim, Jennifer. There was a couple of other players as well, but it was run by one of the people that work for Beyonder. Showed us the system. I'm like, I want to do something like that. So we're going to run another pre-made adventure that they had, and that'll be going on. So again, that's going to be Sunday, August 25th at 5 p.m. We'll be posting about it as well.
We're live streaming that?
Yep.
Okay.
It's my first time running it, so it's just going to be a blast. And hopefully we'll have Tim as well joining us with his character from the last time.
Nice.
Cool. All right. So that's that. Let's quick go around and say our goodbyes and where you can find everybody out on the internetverse. Morgan.
Hi. You can find me, Morgan, at Thistle Raven on Twitter, where I complain about the MTA and talk about D&D. You can also find my political more opinions at Morgan E. Conroy. You can also find me Monday nights on the Pro Restarter stream on Twitch for Dark Sun, where I play Tiny Kobold Teapot. And that's been a blast. That's Mondays at 8 p.m. On Twitch. I have a lot of fun doing that. And that's all for now.
Josh.
That's 8 p.m. Eastern, just to clarify time zones.
Yeah.
Eastern.
I'm Josh Perot. I play Mortimer Greaves here on Taking Initiative. You can find me on Twitter at Zyroxis the Beard. That's at Xiroxis the Beard, or you could just read it right below my picture here. That's where it is. If you'd like to see what I do outside of this sphere of stuff, I've been working on the first couple episodes of the Righteous Gemstones, which is premiering on HBO very shortly, and then I will be kicking off Blue Bloods season 10 in the next upcoming months. So yeah, you can check out my work over there.
Cool. Hannah. Jeez.
Hi, I'm Hannah. You can find me on Twitter at Tender Organic, where unlike Morgan, I put all of my opinions in one place. Political and D&D, and it's a swamp. So feel free to follow me or don't, whatever. I also don't really do anything else public because I work at the university, and that would be stalking. So don't follow me at my work.
All right, Nick.
Hi, I'm Nick. I play Barty McFly, and you can find me on all socials at Nico Figs, NIKOFIGS, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Come on, follow me. What's up? How you doing? Be my friend.
And I am Bucky, and I am the Storm King. You can find me.
Spoiler!
Oh
my God! You can find me on Twitter at Bucky_Masters, and I'm very excited for you guys to take this journey with us on this new session and this new campaign, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh, one other thing. Bucky, Morgan, and I will be at Gen Con next weekend. We're going to be around. We're going to be doing some stuff. I'm doing a live game with Ms. Celeste Konowich on Saturday. More details, I'm sure, will follow shortly because I don't think it's been announced publicly of what that is. But you can see me doing that.
Which game are you going to be playing?
I'm going to be doing a bard.
Oh.
So that's what's going to be going on there. But if you do see us, please say hi. We are friendly people, and we have a couple of B patches left. So I'll be handing those out, some of the newer business cards and stuff. And we just like to say hi and meet people. So we'll see you there if you're going to be there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Goodbye.
Bye.